Assalamualaikum and good evening. Welcome to our forum today. First of all, I would like to thank you to everyone for attending our forum about public transportation. My name is NORAZLIN and I am the moderator for this forum. Before we start, let me introduce for the panel for today's forum. First panel we have MOHAMAD. Second panel we have DEAYANA DARWISYAH. Third panel Hanisah Halid, and the last panel is NABILAH. Therefore, I will leave this forum to the panel members to explain in more detail about public transportation, which started with our first panel, Muhammad Haris.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Haris bin NORAZLIN, and today I, as the first panel, would like to talk about the introduction of public transportation. So before I will talk about the introduction of public transportation, I would like to mention a little bit of history of the public transportation. So the introduction of omnibus in the 18th-20th century in France and London was the first concept of public transportation service in a city was born. The omnibus is some type of a horse-drawn carriage that could transport up to 10 persons at a time. The locomotion between Stockton and Darlington Railway, built by the George Stephenson in 1825, was the world's first public steam railway. In 1892, the first rapid transit was being created in United States, and this transit was still continues to run until today. The public transportation services continue to grow until now, and in Malaysia as well has the modern and relatively well-maintained transportation services. Prasarana Malaysia Berhad is the main player in the industry as it has a near monopoly of all the major public transportation services in Malaysia, with its major subsidiaries being Rapid KL and Rapid Penang. In Malaysia, the train system can be considered as the oldest and the newest form of transport for Malaysians. This is because Malaysia has a long history of trains ever since the first track were laid in 1885. From there on, the railway was a major transport tool for Malaysians. Until today, the public transportation services continue to grow rapidly until the existence of e-hailing services, Grab, taxi, commuter, LRT, and etc. So now I would like to talk about the introduction of public transportation services. Public transportation services is also known as a system of transport in contrast to private transportation for passenger by group travel system available for use by the general public. It is technically managed on a schedule operate on an established route and that just a post fee for each trip. For example, public transportation including trolley buses, train, passenger train, rapid transit, and ferries. According to Cambridge Dictionary, public transportation is a system of vehicle such as buses and train that operate at a regular time of fixed route and are used by the public. Firstly, according to Minister of Prime Minister Department, Dato Sri Nancy Shukri said that 56% of the people use public transportation station service now. She said in the newspaper NSP 2017, the government wished for more people to use the public transportation as it provides greater benefit than using a personal vehicle. Secondly, Malaysia has a well-developed transport network and efficient railing. The international port and airport are well linked to bus and train services, making it easy and convenient to travel from around the world. Some domestic transport in Malaysia is convenient and fairly priced, with air travel being costly. It is advisable to book domestic transfer while it advances during major festivals such as Chinese New Year, Hari Raya Puasa, and also Hari Raya Haji. Domestic flight is perfect for several different means of transport in Kuala Lumpur. For example, there are buses, minibuses, taxis, trishaw, and trains. In the last decade, Malaysia has made strong strides in increasing social mobility upward as the country continues to push toward becoming an advanced nation. Given that Malaysia is made up 75% of Uber areal, it's particularly important to have a good public transport system. It is still hard for most Malaysians to let go of the notion that one could survive the grid without owning a car. Low-income urban households will be at disadvantage without real public transport, which could potentially prevent them from moving up the socio-economy ladder. Occasionally, safety and technical issues tend to threaten current mass transit network.
Thank you to the moderator. My name is DARWISYAH, and now I would like to continue to my topic on the various types of public transport that is available all around the world. So firstly, the first oldest public transport that has in every country is buses, where the types and services of buses depends on the needs. For an example, bus rapid transit is used to connect passengers with other modes of public transport such as train, while the operation of an express bus service differs from that, as the services are intended to run faster than regular bus services and are widely used for long journeys that take the shortest route to their destination. Bus rapid transit was first used in 1974 in Curitiba, Brazil. In the 21st century, it has evolved into a global application and it's widely used in Europe to provide higher quality and perform transportation at a lower cost. There are also tour bus services where it provides services for tourists to go for sightseeing, and the design of the buses will be different from others, but sometimes the regular buses are also used as tour buses. Nevertheless, in major cities such as London, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur and also Malacca, open-top double-decker buses are now widely and popularly used as tour buses. Furthermore, other public transport is subway. Subway system provide commuters with an underground way to get around their city that are built beneath city streets, buildings, rivers, and other structures, with some section morphing into an elevated transit system or railway. They have the capacity to transport millions of people per day in both suburban and urban areas. New York City has one of the world's oldest, largest, and most well-known public transportation system. It has a huge daily impact on the city, serving over 5 million riders every day, and it is open for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with a few exceptions. Other than that, vanpool also is one of the public transport. Vanpool system allows group of people to share a ride in the same way as carpooling does, but on a bigger scale, with savings in fuel and vehicle operating costs. The fundamental idea is that people share a ride from home or from common meeting places to a common destination or work areas. Vanpools have lower operational and construction costs than most transport vehicles, but they sometimes require subsidies due to their lower capacity. Taxi is the most preferable on-demand public transportation that provides door-to-door service. Regional taxis have the advantage of traveling to location where standard public transportation does not. Regional taxis are priced between normal taxis and public transportation. So next, have you ever ride on a ferry? Ferries are a distinctive mode of transportation in which a boat transports passengers and vehicles across a river, lake, or sea. While ferries may appear to be an adventurous mode of transportation, transit systems such as Washington State ferries transport millions of cars and passengers each year. Although the Seattle ferry and others are popular with tourists looking for a leisurely way to get around the city, the ferry system is primarily used by daily commuters who must cross a river or other body of water to get to work. So finally, commuter is also a public transport. So a commuter train, which is often known as a commuter rail system. Commuter train is a type of public transportation that connects the city to its surrounding suburbs. As for example, in California, the Metrolink system is the third largest commuter train system in the United States, linking millions of commuters to their places of business each year. According to Metrolink, 81% of their weekday journeys are for commuting purposes. Commuter trains have recently gained popularity as a result of increased public interest in decreasing traffic, traveling responsibly, and living a greener lifestyle. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you to all my friends and moderator. My name is Hanisah binti Halid. I would like to continue the forum presentation by adding the benefit of public transport. There are some benefits that can be seen if people use public transport. First of all, according to the American Public Transportation Association, public transportation can save money as it is the most cost efficient, especially to the central business district. For instance, the round-trip fare in Malaysia does not exceed 10 ringgit Malaysia. Another example, according to the Ministry of Transport Singapore, 450,000 public transport voucher worth $50 each has been given out, and students in Singapore get to enjoy student concession fare, which can save their money up to $1.54 per journey. Furthermore, people who bring their own cars must cover the cost for petrol, toll, car maintenance, and parking. This statement can be supported by a study from students in University di Losbol. It stated that although the car is frequently associated to be more comfort, greater freedom and flexibility off-road, it is also associated with higher costs and difficult parking. The parking problem and the money spent on parking at the end of the month will cost more than the monthly transport ticket. Apart from that, according to the case made by a student from University of Auckland, Suba Cherhari, by improving schedule reliability and well-connected roads, the total time can be saved. Hence, road integration for public transport users to reach their final destination can be shortened if the schedule and connected roads are improved. Other than that, the availability of public transport in every country saves time for people who want to avoid busy roads, since public transport such as MRT and LRT have their own places and are not be disturbed by other vehicles such as cars. This statement can be supported from qualitative study made by students di Losbol, as one of the respondents rate the transportation service as adequate during rush hours and for those who follow a standard work schedule. Therefore, public transport has an impact in saving individual time in daily life and making extra time to do other things. Next, we go traffic congestion and transportation-related environmental pollution has been identified as major issue in many countries around the world, especially in developing countries. Third, encourage them to use public transport to reduce pressure on the urban environment. Traffic and transportation is important. To be more specific, taking public transport can help to reduce air pollution, as being stated Robert J. Shapiro in the role of public transport. Every person who leave their car at home and choose to take bus or train reduce the amount of harmful pollutant in the air. When compared to single occupancy vehicle, public transportation emits 95% less carbon dioxide, 92% less volatile organic compound, 45% less carbon dioxide, and 48% less nitrogen oxide. When pollutants like this enter our atmosphere, they contribute to global warming, smoke, acid deposition, and health problems. When commuters use public transportation, it has the potential to drastically reduce the pollution. According to the Center for Climate and Energy Solutions, communities with strong public transportation have the potential to reduce the nation's carbon emission by 37 million metric tons per year. And according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, cars emitted 41% of greenhouse gas caused by transportation in 2018. Last but not least, the benefit of public transport is convenience. According to the research article made by students from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, the level of convenience to transportation service is a critical factor in the planning of public transportation facilities. The ability of users to access transit facilities such as bus stop or train station is referred to as transit convenience. Factors such as pedestrian path, bicycle lane, bus stop condition, and accessibility for people with disability all have an impact on transit convenience. In terms of public transportation accessibility, bus users are more concerned than car users. We can see for ourselves the facilities that are available in Malaysia, where each state has a bus station close to their home. In addition, the convenience of accessing the train timetable before we start our journey to a destination by viewing the display provided. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks to our moderator, I, Puteri NABILAH binti SUHAIMI, will continue the forum with public transportation in tourism. While tourism is defined as people travelling to and staying in places other than their regular place of residence for less than 1 year, for leisure, business, or other reason, it is much more than that. A host community, lodging, transportation, constructed and natural attractions all contribute to the success and competitiveness of a destination, and it is the unique combination of these components that makes a destination special. It is also heavily influenced by the price and time required to get there. Public transportation in particular connects regions both domestically and internationally and connect all other aspects of tourism, attractions, lodging, and commercial activities, for example, to destinations. Good accessibility is key to a destination's overall competitiveness. The availability of suitable infrastructure and adequate public transportation are essential elements for facilitating visitor mobility. Tourism relies on multimodal transportation networks that provide convenience, capacity, reliability, and connectivity to certain destination categories in order to fulfill its promise and economic growth engine. For example, integrated seaside resort or small-scale isolated eco-lodge. The efficient running of this public transportation system cuts costs and open up new possibilities for tourism growth. Public transportation hubs in cities and regions are designed for different purposes and scale, but all play an important role in increasing access to cities and beyond. They can provide new functions and determine new rules for national rail and road network accessibility, creating significant opportunities for cities when connected by high-speed train or motorways. They can play a very important role within the regional planning context, providing new centralities for cities, intercity buses, and even access to international services. Tourist activity might be centered around public transportation networks and services. This comprises train, buses, walking, and cycling-based sustainable tourism. The advantages of supporting sustainable mobility alternative for both visitors and service providers are generally recognized in Switzerland. With nearly no emissions, Switzerland mobility has aided in the reputation of Switzerland as an environmentally friendly location, providing tourism service providers with access to a promising new market. The rediscovery of human-powered mobility as a mode of travel by using public transport and tourism is getting popular, shifting tourism from traditional urban areas and into national areas. Furthermore, previously at the end of the French public transportation network, Lille is now located at the crossroad of the Northern High-Speed Train network, making it more central with the French transportation network with connection to different sub-regional areas and access to regional trains. To encourage a sustainable and memorable tourism experience, it is critical to have excellent linkages, which is information and physical connections with public transportation services for intercity travel. What is more, the Moscow Metro has long been a tourist draw in Russia. In 1935, the first 13 metro stations in Moscow were opened to the public. It was constructed using forced Soviet labor, with British engineers developing the initial design. In 2018, the Moscow metro system has 222 stations, making it the world's 6th longest, and over 9 million people use its tubes and trains every day, making it the world's 2nd busiest metro system. In other words, it has a direct impact on how Moscow appears now, because the city would be very different if it did not exist. The metro is today's fastest, most relevant, and affordable and safe mode of transportation in Moscow. Many public transit hubs now are broadening and modifying their business models in order to provide a more integrated one-stop experience for customers and tourists alike, including duty-free, shopping, restaurants, bars, and supermarkets, to mention a few conveniences. Tourism-induced energy consumption has been identified as an increasing cost to greenhouse gas emissions. As a result, identifying and implementing policies and innovative business practices that effectively encourage visitors to choose more eco-friendly transportation options when available, such as rail and buses. Specifically, public transportation is a key challenge for destinations seeking to position themselves as resource efficient. In closing, public transportation provides a wide range of benefits to communities and country itself. They also contribute to a healthier environment by improving air quality and reducing oil consumption. Riders who do not have access to other modes of transportation can use public transportation to get around. They also promote location efficiency by facilitating access to employment and other community amenities, as well as reducing traffic congestion during peak work hours. Besides, through this forum, we can see that public transportation is a significant enabler of tourism, as it transports visitors from their starting point to their end destination, as well as to various attractions. Hence, making public transit easily accessible and efficient now has become one of the primary goals of policymakers and planners in metropolitan regions around in the world. That's all from me, and that's all from us. Thank you very much.